Hello, Americans. I'm Ronald Reagan. Stand by for some exciting political commentary. And now, page 2. I would like to speak to you Hispanics about El Presidente Obama's the exciting decision to try and grant some form of backdoor amnesty for 800,000 illegal aliens. Now, everybody's standing around saying what a great thing this is for the children of illegal aliens, an estimated 800,000 of them, to basically be given a waiver as far as deportation goes. That's right, you're not going to be deported if you're under the age of 30. And all the pundits are saying what a great political move it is. But I want to talk to you Hispanics, and first off, unlike El Presidente, the man who is not a Mexican, I am not going to insult your intelligence. Because whether you understand it or not, by his decision, your intelligence has indeed been insulted. How do you like being pandered to by a desperate left-wing Marxist lunatic? Not to mention the simple fact is he is probably one of the most obvious cases of a raging egomaniac that there ever is. A textbook case of a narcissist. Absolutely textbook. And he has indeed insulted your intelligence. He seems to think that by doing this, for all you children mind you, under the age of 30, the ripe old age of 30 I should say, that he's going to win your respect and you're going to show up and vote for him out of sheer gratitude for this great monumental decision that he has made. Now, I am going to talk to you like you do indeed have some intelligence, because unlike him, I actually think you do have some intelligence. Now, I would like to point out to you that this DREAM Act that he tried to pass through Congress didn't go anywhere. And of course, he blames people like me, Republicans, for it. But I have some information for you might find interesting. That a lot of these more moderate Democrats didn't go for this thing either. Now, there's a difference between a raging left-wing lunatic ideologue liberal like Obama and more mainstream Democrats. In other words, reasonable Democrats. The ones that understand that the DREAM Act needed not to be passed because what we need in this country is comprehensive immigration reform. The whole bowl of wax, everything. All this is a stopgap measure. The basic idea itself is okay, but the way that he goes about it is just wrong. He tried to pass this DREAM Act, and the Congress said no. So what does he do? He goes out and takes a pen and says, I'm going to issue an executive order. Now, any of you Hispanics that have come from, say, Cuba, Venezuela, or any of these other countries understand what a dictator is. It doesn't work like that in this country. But this guy just says, to hell with, the Constitution, which governs us all and makes us different from Cuba and Venezuela, and says, well, I'm just going to do it anyways because I think it's a smooth political move, and the Latinos will be so appreciative to me, they'll come out and vote for me in November. You've just been insulted. Don't you understand that? But I'm going to explain it to you. Now, what I want to do is I want to draw a comparison for you so that you can decide for yourself. I report, you decide. I want to point out an example of this thing known as the Environmental Protection Agency. Now remember, when His Mightiness Obama, the man who is not a Mexican, decided he was going to run for president, one of his policies was one of these things known as cap and trade. That's basically curbing emissions through taxes on coal-fired power plants. Well, he tried to get that passed through Congress. And guess what? Once again, the more moderate Democrats, the reasonable Democrats, wanted absolutely nothing to do with that. And they just said, no, we're not going to do it. These are members of his own political party that's telling him to go pound it, basically. And so what does he do? He realizes he can't get it through the legislative process, so he doesn't just sign an executive order in this case. What he does is he goes to his buddies in the Environmental Protection Agency. Remember, he is the Environmental Protection Agency. So he tells you he's never running that Environmental Protection Agency to change the requirements so that it is practically impossible for these coal-fired power plants to do business. In fact, around here where I live in the Ohio Valley, about 6 coal-fired power plants were shut down. And he's going to shut more of them down. And all these miners around here are up in arms about it. These damn coal miners aren't going to vote for him. And he knows it. And so he has to go and pander to you. That's exactly what he's doing. He is pandering to you. But the Environmental Protection Agency should be the perfect example of what somebody who has this dictatorial dreams would do. If he can't get what he wants through the legislative process, he'll just find a way around Congress. That's how it works. Now today I was watching This Week with George Stephanopoulos, and George Will actually made a statement that was true. And I've got my issues with George Will, mind you, but this time he was dead on right. One of the liberal people said, well, we can't get this through Congress, so the president had to. And George Will says, so what? If it doesn't work the first time, then you repackage it and do it a second time. And you negotiate with those that are in your way. See what you can come up with. Strike a deal. That's what the Founding Fathers envisioned when they had separation of powers. To slow this kind of thing down. It is exactly why we have a Constitution. And it is exactly what Obama did and why it is wrong. Nobody thinks that there shouldn't be some form of immigration reform. The problem is that he has unilaterally, like a dictator, decided that it was either my way or the highway. Okay, now, with that being said, I would also like to tell you this little fact. Now, I understand that most Hispanics are what? Catholics. Now, let me ask you this. What did you, as Hispanics, think of Obama's unilateral decision about big government-run health care and that little thing about forced contraception? Remember that? And Big Daddy Obama says that all these Catholic institutions have to provide health insurance for their employees. Has to. It's a mandate. In other words, it's an order from on high. And in that mandate, he says that you have to provide contraception options for your employees. In other words, he is telling the Catholic Church that you have to provide contraception even though it is basically against your religious beliefs to do that. But the man on high, El Supremo, says it has to be so. Now, how do you like that? Now, let me ask you this too. What do you think of El Supremo and his damn political party's position on, let's say, late-term abortion? Do you know what a late-term abortion is? A late-term abortion is when the baby is coming down the birth canal, that the abortion doctor just sticks a vacuum tube in its head and sucks out the brain and kills it. This is after 9 months of pregnancy, and the baby is actually being born. And they just do exactly that, and they kill it. Now, Big Daddy El Supremo actually believes in that. He actually argued for that practice or something like it when he was a state senator in Illinois. That's right. When he was a state senator in Illinois, they tried to pass a law that said that the babies that are born and survive an abortion process are entitled to live. And Obama actually argued against that. That's right, he didn't believe that botched babies from abortion should have the right to live. That's your president for you, and that's the kind of things that he believes in. Now, you tell me, after what you just saw with this immigration thing, if that's the kind of person that you really want to vote for just because he does that one thing. And like I said before, he's pandering to you. It's nothing but insulting your intelligence. Now, the things that I just pointed out are facts. You decide for yourself. But I'm telling you this right now, you are being played as suckers, and that's just all there is to it. He's desperate, and he thinks he can come to you to save his worthless ass. But it's my what this guy is all about and some of the things that he does and has done so that you can make an informed, intelligent decision for yourselves. Until next time, this is your favorite conservative, Ronald Reagan, saying this to you now. You Hispanics are smarter than that. I know it. And there should be comprehensive immigration reform that's fair and just for all Americans, not just one single ethnic group. And once again, here is our president pitting ethnic groups against ethnic groups, class against class, income level against income level. You figure it out. Until next time, I say this now. Over and out.